Alright, so we have the full chapter 1054 summary here provided by Readon, and there's like a few twists here. Actually, one is like really big, something that we didn't know in the prior spoilers to this. So let's just get right into it. Chapter begins in the Flower Capital. Kinemon and the other Red Scabbards noticed that someone is approaching the city. Kinemon says Luffy and his friends can't discover what's going on. Then they go deal with the intruder. Ryokuyu keeps walking towards the Flower Capital. He's thinking something. Ryokuyu says, the ability to influence others. That's something quite difficult to achieve. So at first we kind of think he's talking about Luffy, but I guess he could also be talking about Sabo here, considering what we're going to be talking about later on in these spoilers. Suddenly, Raizo, Shinobu, Inuarashi, Denjiro, Nekomamushi, and Kawamatsu appear in front of Ryokuyu to stop him. Ryokuyu says, "Samurai, don't get in my way." Raizo says that the guy is someone from the Marines, and Denjiro says that he's one of Luffy's enemies from the outside world. Ryokuyu talks to them as he begins to use his powers. Ryokuyu says, "Guys, how much do you know about the outside world? The Tenryubito are the gods of this world. A country like yours, which is not affiliated with the world government, has no rights. Sorry, but that's how the world works." So this isn't what I expected Ryokuyu to be like, to be honest. And this is only the beginning of his true ideologies, I guess you could say. Ryokuyu puts his hands on the ground and starts growing all kinds of plants to attack them. Ryokuyu says, "I am the user of the Mori Mori no Mi, a forest man. I am nature itself, the father of all life, like the sea." When Ryokuyu says nature, he uses the word Logia. So yeah, we've gone over this the last 2 days. It is confirmed that Ryokuyu's fruit here is in fact a Logia, and it's essentially called like the forest fruit. Hey, also guys, if you like my One Piece content, please subscribe if you haven't already. I'm 5,000 away from 200,000 subs, and there's no break next week, so I'm going to be dropping the spoiler video at that time whenever we get the new spoiler for 1055, so if you need a reminder, here you go. Thanks. Ryokuyu says, "I will give you a lesson on humanity. We need to create lower creatures in order to live. Everyone is able to survive by looking down on non-affiliated countries. Discrimination is what gives us stability." So yeah, Ryokuyu sucks. And like I said, I didn't really expect this. I thought he was going to be more like Fujitora, considering we saw them, you know, like chummy at the Reverie. But no, he's pretty much a full-blown fascist at this point, and Fujitora wasn't so much. And I guess this means that he's like not Ushimaru Shimotsuki, who could also possibly be Zoro's dad. Now, either this is Zoda trying to hit us with the swerve and like throwing us off that scent possibly, or it's just squashing that, and Ryokuyu isn't Ushimaru, and he's just this super powerful fascist dude. In an impressive double page, we see that Ryokuyu is transformed into some kind of giant tree and attacks the Red Scabbards with branches and roots of all sizes. The Red Scabbards defend themselves while Ryokuyu continues with his speech. He says, "Countless people could have died in this country and no law would be broken. Stop me if you can. I will kill thousands of people if it's necessary to capture Straw Hat Luffy." Yamato appears behind the Red Scabbards and hits Ryokuyu in the head with her Kanon bow, knocking Ryokuyu to the ground. Yamato tells Ryokuyu that everything he said is unforgivable. Yamato's attacks damaged Ryokuyu. He says it had a very strong haki. Yamato says that Wano has suffered 20 years of tyranny, and now the country is finally free. He's not going to let anyone interrupt their well-deserved celebration. Ryokuyu says, "Who are you?" And Yamato says, "I'm Yamato, Kaido's son." Ryokuyu says, "Kaido's son?" And Momonosuke also arrives to the battlefield in dragon form, and Momonosuke says, "I agree with you, Yamato. We won't let you lay a finger on our heroes who are still recovering." Ryokuyu says, "A dragon?" And then Momonosuke says, "Bolo breath." Momonosuke tries to imitate Kaido, but he can't use the attack. Ryokuyu is surprised, and he says, "What was that supposed to be?" Seeing that his attack failed, Momonosuke runs towards Ryokuyu and bites his body. Momonosuke then tries to get Ryokuyu away from the Flower Capital. He doesn't want to bring fear to people's hearts again. Ryokuyu is surprised to see a pink dragon. He never heard that that kind of ability exists. He then tells Momonosuke to get out of his way and wraps several giant branches around Momonosuke's body to stop him. Understandable that Ryokuyu wouldn't know that this exists, considering that this is like a new fruit that Vegapunk made, and I guess Momonosuke is the first person to eat it. But other than that, it kind of implies that Ryokuyu has knowledge of like all of the devil fruits, which is kind of hard to believe, but we'll just go with it. Yamato tries to help Momonosuke, and Momonosuke says, Yamato, stay out of this. Cut to the scene near Wano, and we can see the ship of the red hair pirates is there. Part of the crew tells Shanks that they want to see Luffy since he has become a great pirate. Shanks remembers the last time he was in the Wano Sea, when they separated from Oden that day. He also thinks that Momonosuke and Hiyori must already be adults. Red hair pirates insist. Lucky Roo says, boss, let's go see Luffy. And Bonk Punch says, Luffy is truly amazing. And Yasop says, wait a minute, I'm not mentally prepared to meet Usopp yet. Lime Juice says, what's this? That guy Kid is here too. Didn't he fight against us not too long ago? Shanks sees Luffy's wanted poster and he says, so this is... A short flashback starts. The red hair pirate ship chases one marine warship. Ben Beckman informs Shanks that there are CP9 members on the warship, but Shanks doesn't care and orders the attack. A young Who's Who asks pirates what they want. Since there are no treasures on the warship, Who's Who says they only have a measly devil fruit. When we see the chest with the Gomu Gomu no Mi that we saw in One Piece Chapter 1, from where Luffy took the fruit to eat it. Flashback continues with Shanks remembering some scenes with Luffy in Fuchsia Village and the moment where Shanks sacrificed his arm to save Luffy. Back in the present, we see that Shanks grabs his missing arm. Some of the members of the crew who were not on the ship when red hair pirates met Luffy in the past are surprised to find out that their boss knows Luffy. They heard all kind of rumors about Luffy. For example, that Luffy is an unstoppable monkey monster. Shanks talks to his crewmates. He says, I have no intention of meeting Luffy. And Lucky Roo says, what? Shanks says, can you remind me of what is happening in our territories right now? Howling Gab says, oh yeah, you're talking about that guy named Barto or something like that? It seems like he's one of Luffy's subordinates. He burned our flags and changed them to Luffy's. And Shanks says, well, we'll have to go solve it, or what will happen to my credibility? The red hair pirates say, if you put it in that way, but we still think, and Shanks sits at the table next to Ben Beckman and serves himself a cup of sake. Shanks says, hey Beck, I think it's time to join the fight for the One Piece. So, whoa, that was pretty awesome, and I know not much happened, but just us getting an update on Shanks and seeing him actually interacting with his crew is pretty substantial stuff in this series. So, a lot to unpack here, and I'll say that I think Shanks' stock has dropped a little bit here, which is hard to believe, but like, he doesn't want to meet Luffy yet, and even Yasop is like apprehensive to see Usopp. But this also makes things become so much more interesting. And of course with Shanks, you know, it raises way more questions, which is the usual with him. So first of all, why is he even at Wano? Like, if he's not here to see Luffy, what is he doing? Is he possibly trying to get the road poneglyphs that's there? And he's even kind of like backtracking here by like, what's going on with our territories actually? That guy Barto, he burned down our flags, right? We should go after him. By the way, that's in reference to Barto's cover stories that happened in like the 870s range, I think, where he pretty much did what they talked about here. But it's like, wow, Shanks doesn't want to see Luffy, but why? But when he looks at the bounty poster, it seems like he recognizes that that is the Nika fruit, which goes back to the theory that he knew what he was doing when he stole that fruit from CP9. He knew that that was like the Nika fruit. And now that Luffy has awakened it, he's kind of like apprehensive about it. Does this give more credence to the Shanks being evil theory, or just not entirely good? Because clearly he has ties to the Gorosei, so right there, not a good guy, since they're like the fascist kings of genocide. What is Shanks thinking? What does he know? Tell us! It's been over 1,050 chapters, just tell us what you know. Ah, man. But I'm actually kind of glad that they're not meeting in Wano, because I was expecting it to take place somewhere else. Maybe Elbaf or Lodestar, or you know, maybe even Laugh-Tale. But man, I'm still so hyped as to what's going to happen. I guess that's the point of all of this, right? Cut to the Navy headquarters in the New World. A meeting is taking place. An unknown Marine tells Aki Inu that they can't allow the revolutionaries to continue doing things as they please. Aki Inu tells him he already knows, but they don't have enough support troops for everything. We see that Aki Inu, Kizaru, and an unknown Marine are at the meeting. The unknown Marine says that guy called Sabo, the Flame Emperor, is now a hero in the whole world. Nefertari Cobra was the only member of the 20 kingdoms that founded the world government 800 years ago that participated participated in the Reverie. The murder of this man is an important achievement for the Revolutionary Army. As the unknown Marine says this, we see the headline of the newspaper which says Sabo murdered King Nefertari Cobra of the Alabasta Kingdom. Then the unknown Marine talks about what happened to the land of Mary Joie while the Reverie was being celebrated. So yeah, here's the big twist here, and we're finally finding out what was going on with the newspapers and Sabo and the fallout of the Reverie from like nearly 100 chapters ago, and it's Cobra was killed and they're blaming Sabo for it. Obviously Sabo didn't kill him. Pretty sure the Gorosei killed him because he requested a meeting with them, and they were also talking about a great cleansing coming and how the Nefertari family were basically scumbags for not joining the Celestial Dragons 800 years ago, as stated here. So yeah, it all adds up here for sure. Unknown Marine says a few hours before the murder, in the residential area of the Tenryubito in the land of the gods, the emblem of the world nobles, the hoof of the Celestial Dragon, was destroyed. It was a declaration of war. As he speaks, we see that the Tenryubito's flag flapping on top of the building was burned during the incident. The unknown Marine says Marine soldiers led by Admirals Ryokyu and Fujitora attended the noble's call. But in the end, the revolutionaries were able to liberate Bartholomew Kuma, a former member of the Revolutionary Army who was a slave to the Tenryubito, and all of them escaped. Admirals probably couldn't fight properly in the land of the gods. So yeah, this is finally clearing that up. So Sabo and the Revolutionary Army commanders came up from under Mary Joie, where they were kind of like staking out, and they successfully saved Kuma, and they got out of there and successfully fought off Ryokyu and Fujitora as well, which is awesome. Aki Inu says you don't need to create excuses on their behalf. And what about Princess Vivi's disappearance, which happened at the same time as Cobra's murder? So yeah, it turns out Vivi is gone too, which we didn't know about. And from reading this, it seems like she's probably with Sabo and the Revolutionary Army. Would be convenient from a storytelling perspective, for sure. We see again a newspaper headline reporting Vivi's disappearance. The unknown Marine is presented. He's a man with white hair and sunglasses. He is Kuroma Black Horse, the head of the Marine Criminal Investigation Service. His real name is Tensei. So apparently this guy is Aki Inu's son, but this summary doesn't really make that explicitly clear. Kuroma says we are still investigating the disappearance and its possible connection with the incidents. Aki Inu says Alabasta is probably in chaos right now, and Kuroma says their ship is still in the Red Port, and I don't think it's time for them to return. Kizaru says, has the incident of attempted murder about St. Charlos been resolved? Kuroma says, regarding St. Mjosgard and how he helped the suspect to escape, there was a trial in the land of the gods in which the Knights of God intervened, which made things more complicated. Aki Inu says, let them do what they want. Kuroma says, rumors say Sabo is the one who might be pulling the strings behind all these incidents, and the revolution of the 8 nations took place aiming at the return of the world leader and sparks rebellion across the world. They're starting to treat that guy like a god. In the final double page, we see the country from chapter 1053 where there was a giant picture of Sabo in the building. There's a man with a megaphone on the stage while people cheer Sabo the Flame Emperor. Kuroma says you can even say that his popularity has surpassed the influence of the supreme commander of the Revolutionary Army, Rebellious Dragon. And then, right at this very moment, his little brother, Straw Hat Luffy, becomes one of the Yonko. The man with the megaphone starts talking to the people. He says the old system has been destroyed on the pirate side by the little brother of the Flame Emperor. Right now, this era is changing. In the last panels of the chapter, we see Aki Inu looking out to the sea from his office, and he says, looks like I've become the fleet admiral in this darn moment, but no matter what is coming, I will finish them all. End of chapter. Seems like Sabo is pretty much doing the same thing as Luffy, but just on his end of the spectrum. And this for some reason makes me feel like Dragon's gonna die and then Sabo's just gonna replace him. I don't know, that's the kind of feeling that I get from this. I mean, I hope not. I'd love to see Dragon at least do something before he theoretically dies. But also I think this is setting up Aki Inu versus Sabo as like their final fight. I mean, I always kind of felt that that was probably going to be it anyway, considering, you know, he killed Ace and Sabo is the new Ace, so, you know, it makes sense. But let me know what you think about this chapter in the comments, guys. And if you liked the video, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.